but I had to break a cycle in my mind. Because sure, anybody can go to the gym. And sure, anybody can eat differently. But if it doesn't begin in the mind first, it's never going to change. I've heard someone say that mind over matter. Now, many of us know that common phrase of mind over matter, which means that if your mind is stronger than what is happening, then it really doesn't matter. But I'm going to say to you, if it doesn't matter, don't mind it. Because if it's not important to you, then there's no need to focus on it. We have to change our minds. That's one of the first things we have to do. We have to make up our mind to break a cycle. And from making up our mind on breaking cycles, we then need to make up our minds as to what we're going to say about ourselves. Yeah. Sometimes we find ourselves not being successful in breaking cycles because we keep speaking the wrong things. We keep speaking negatively about our situation. There's a scripture that I love, and it says this, that death and life are in the power of the tongue. They that love it shall eat of its fruit. That last part says, they that love it shall eat of its fruit. Meaning, they that love negative words will eat of the fruit of those negative words. Some of us say things like, oh, I'll never lose the weight. Oh, it's just so hard. Or I wish I could, rather than saying, I'm getting rid of this weight for good. Or there's nothing too hard for me to accomplish. Or saying, I can do all things that are put in front of me. I can leap over every hurdle. I can blow past any obstacle. Those are positive affirmations of words that we can say to break the cycles in our lives. The third thing is that we need to focus on is changing our environment. There's a quote that says, if the flower doesn't grow where it's planted, then we change the environment, not the flower. You see, each and every one of us has a specific purpose for why we were created. And there's nothing wrong with the purpose, but there may be something wrong with the environment where you're planted. I want you to think about that. Some of us have probably, if we're still employed, have gotten to the place where we really want to be doing something that we're passionate about. And maybe the environment that we're in isn't lending toward us growing and thriving as we should. And sooner or later, as we think about wanting to do exactly what that quote says of changing our environment, because there's nothing wrong with the flower, that we oftentimes find ourselves fearful of taking the first step to making a change, to changing our environment. And that was kind of like me. I bought this cycle. And man, looking at the price tag on this cycle, oh my goodness. I was unemployed, but I had this deep longing to break this cycle, because this cycle in my life of being overweight wasn't just affecting me. It was affecting my family. It was affecting the children in my family. And I was tired of seeing it. I didn't want to have to contend with this thing anymore. So I made up my mind. I said, you know what? I'm going to change it. I'm going to do something about it, because I don't want to look up another year in 2021 thinking about the same thing that has hounded me for years, which is being overweight, not liking what I see in the mirror. So I made a change. After getting over the sticker shock of how much the bike was actually going to cost, and not being employed and getting this bike, I just stepped out on faith. I said, I know that if I do this, if I make up my mind, I can accomplish this. So I did. In November, I purchased the bike for my birthday.